Welcome to Conspiracy. I'm Sammy,
And I'm Taylor.
and we're here to unpack and analyze the world's best conspiracy theories. So buckle up and let's jump in. Welcome back to the podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing an relaxing week, which we haven't had a lot of this summer.
No, it's been go, go, go.
It is, which I can't complain because I feel like out of every summer me and you have had together, this has been the most jam-packed, filled with fun, and like it has been nonstop.
Yeah,
And
it's definitely been one thing and
after
then another
another.
thing
It's
very
like
quickly.
we started summer by going to Disney, and then we got home, and it was like we were home for a while, but it was rummage sale. So we had tons of family come down, and we had to set up a rummage sale and have the rummage sale and pack up the rummage sale, and then we were traveling, and
Yeah.
it was like you said, one thing after another,
You know,
and
as teachers, it's our only opportunity.
it is. But it's kind of nice that we've had a couple days to relax. We did have one day we went to the state fair for the first time ever,
Yeah.
which
I know, I was very impressed.
it was a neat experience because
Because they always say, like, carnies are crazy. I didn't get
Yeah.
that vibe, but maybe I wasn't in the right spots.
yeah, but again, shout out Aunt Nancy. They used to go all the time with our cousins when they were little, and they loved it. And I was like, why have we not ever gone? But no, I have wanted to see Riley Green perform for a very long time. Initially, we were going to drive over to Minnesota and
That would have been a
literally,
long drive.
and I was okay with the drive because the drive, I think it would have been about 4 hours. It was in St. Paul.
Okay.
So it would
But
have been,
still, that's a long drive.
yeah. And literally overnight, the tickets went from less than 100 to over $200. And I was like, I don't think I want to spend over $200 and then have to drive almost 5-ish, four and a
And then
half
probably get a
hours.
hotel night because we wouldn't have wanted to drive that back.
Yeah, and I'm like, so it worked out nicely because I remember seeing the ticket price and I was really upset. And then all of a sudden it was like Riley Green coming to the Wisconsin State Fair.
Yeah.
So it gave us an excuse,
Yeah, I know. And
Very
you got a
cool.
full day admission with that.
which
So,
I didn't think that I assumed when we got there they were going to be like,
it's
oh
like
no,
you can arrive at this time and go to your
yes,
concert. Yeah.
exactly. But they're like, no, if you buy concert tickets, you automatically get to go and have like a whole day at the State Fair.
Yeah, that's dope.
And the food trucks they had so many. And
Chef's kiss.
I would say that looking at the carnival rides, those seem more safe than the carnivals that show up here in Oshkosh.
Yeah, but I've seen some horror stories on TikTok of like them just falling over. I just don't trust them.
I don't do rides that are not there year round. Disney World, that's safe.
Especially when
They're
you,
there
if
year
you can
round.
put it up in under 2 hours, that's not for me.
Not a ride I'm putting
That
myself
baby's
on.
got to be anchored to the
Mhm.
ground, and I know those aren't because I see them bobbling while you're riding on them.
Yeah, no. But it was a neat experience, and I'm glad that we finally did it. I truly don't know what took us so long to get down there.
With it only being like an hour and a half away, I find it surprising that we've never been.
Yeah, I guess maybe we just never had an excuse to go, or we just
Well,
never really thought to go.
And our parents worked during the week,
Yeah.
so it's like,
When we were younger, and then by
Yeah.
the time we hit like age of driving that we could have gone ourselves, I think it was never a thought that crossed our minds.
no, we always had, I mean, by this point in time, like, we had sports going into high school, so, like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to.
And I remember driving past it one year when me and you like had a day trip to Devil's Lake.
Was it the state fair?
It was I'm pretty positive it was State Fair.
Okay.
I thought that was the one that we had driven past, and I'm like, that looks like a lot of fun, but we just never went.
Yeah.
But no, good experience. Highly recommend. 2 thumbs up.
Gucci Gucci.
I am a little nervous for this podcast tonight. As we were getting ready for it, and I was grabbing like my computer charger and everything.
Because this is Conspiracy at night.
They're all at night. We've only recorded once in the day.
Yeah, I know. Coming to you live at 10:14 p.m.
But as I was getting everything ready to like set up, Sammy goes, "You're gonna." What did you say?
You were like, I should shut this light off. I'm like, you're going to want to leave it on.
That's what it was. Because I was like, oh, great. So I'm going to be scared. So I know that hint number one is it's likely going to be a scary topic or maybe an unsettling one that I don't want to be in the dark for.
We shall see.
Okay. Do I get hints?
Yeah, I'll give you some hints.
Awesome.
All right, so this week we'll be looking into a topic that prior to doing research on this, I really had not heard about this.
Do you think I've heard of it?
You might have.
Okay. I mean, I
So-
have a really long list, so I've probably scoped
You might
it,
have
but
it on your list, but like
wouldn't know a lot about it maybe.
I go week to week
Okay.
of like, okay, like I think I'll do that.
Yeah. That's the hard part when doing research on topics.
Well,
I'm
and
like,
there's just so many. So
I have started research on like 5 different ones, but I'm like, ooh, but this one sounds more fun. So I'll abandon research and be like, eventually I'll come back because it's half done.
Yeah.
And then I throw myself into my current obsession.
All right. So I knew nothing about this prior to researching.
Okay.
Today's topic has to deal with many places that we have traveled to.
Many places that we have traveled to. National parks. Okay, the smile I'm getting. National parks is part of it.
All right. It has a rather sinister side to it.
Are you gonna talk about the feral people that live within the parks?
No.
Oh, because literally last night I Googled, or I not Googled, I TikTok searched national park conspiracy theories, and the biggest one I could find is apparently like feral
People like
people.
live in the state
Yeah,
parks and
and
have
like
like grown up since a child.
yes.
Yes, I have seen that
I
one.
haven't done any research on it, but it's one that's very intriguing to me.
Yeah.
Eventually down the road, I'll probably bring up the feral people.
Yet today we are going to be talking about the missing 411 theory.
That came up last night, and that was the first time I'd ever heard about it.
Yes.
It's about like the missing people that
that
have
like just disappear
out of like into thin air.
out of thin air.
Because there are some people, like literally, I think I watched maybe 3 TikToks on it last night. And the one TikTok I had saw, like the person was literally just with the person and got maybe 10 feet away and they got distracted by something for less than a minute, turned back, person was gone.
And like no trace.
None at all. Like turned around, they're like, hello?
Yeah.
Like where, like, are you playing a joke? Are you hiding? What is
Yeah.
going on? Yes. Oh, I'm so intrigued and I'm glad I didn't have to do the research for this because I was going to.
Yeah. So this time around, I have a relatively small background, and then I have 2 stories.
2 stories.
2 stories.
No theories?
I mean, there's theories about those stories,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's kind of a little bit of a different setup.
Gotcha.
So again, like you said, this theory is going to focus around the national parks and then the disappearances that are occurring within them.
I love everything to do with national parks.
Same. That's why I looked up. I was like, national parks
Dude,
conspiracy theories.
same.
What can I do about national parks? Because I'm interested in those.
Oh, it's just such a high interest. And the hard part is, like,
There's not a ton out
there's
there.
not conspiracies, but I think what we're going to have to eventually do.
It's kind of like do a mosh posh of like true crime and conspiracy.
Yes, I think that, or maybe eventually we
There's
like
so many
branch.
conspiracy theories out there though, so like it'll take us a long
Oh yeah,
time.
but maybe we like run like a side channel of like spooky stories from national parks.
Yeah,
because I've
That'd be
seen
cool.
people do like Reddit stories. I'm like, we could totally like pivot and have like a small section of like, oh, you get a short spooky story once a week. Like,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
because I want to talk about those and tell those stories because I think it'd be fun, and I feel like we'd have to like do it in the dark, like have like a tiny little
Turn
light.
off your lights and get ready to get scared.
Maybe eventually when
There's our slogan.
we can like get all of this under control and have enough of these episodes banked that we'll record some spooky stuff. Have it as like a side channel, or
I know.
I'll just create a whole nother podcast off our podcast.
Oh god, that sounds like a lot of work.
I'm the one doing it.
All right, so we're gonna jump into the background. The missing 411 phenomenon refers to a series of unsolved cases of people who have mysteriously vanished in national parks around the world. So it's not just here in the U.S. It's
Oh,
everywhere.
I didn't get that from what I saw.
This topic has been extensively documented by retired police officer David Paulides.
Yes, I did hear his name in the
Yeah.
like one of the 3 TikToks I saw.
Yep, he's the main guy that kind of created this conspiracy theory.
Do you know, did he start looking into this during retirement or prior to retirement?
I believe it was during retirement.
he had
I
retired
don't believe
and-
any time when he was an actual police officer
Okay.
he was looking into this.
Well, how
I'm
would you have
sure-
the time?
I'm sure when he was a police officer and he was in the area where national parks
Yeah.
were, he saw things of like this person went missing,
and had heard about it, and
but didn't really investigate further.
but now that you're retired and have the time.
Yep.
Okay.
He notes that a lot of these disappearances share eerie similarities that defy simple explanations.
All right.
The theory suggests that these disappearances could be linked by more than just their location. So being in like Yellowstone National Park, it's not just happening there.
Yeah.
It's like there's more at play here.
All right. So it's not just like secluded to an area.
Correct.
Okay.
The victims often vanish without a trace, even when in sight of others, and search dogs are frequently unable to pick up a scent. When bodies are found, they are often in areas that have already been searched, with the cause of death remaining unexplained.
That's scary.
Yeah, that's why you don't go there by yourself. That is
I'm-
one thing I have learned is
Yeah.
like, don't go into the forest by yourself. You might be a seasoned pro, and I'm still like, you just don't know what the hell's in there.
Yeah. Like I so desperately, granted, I would never go anywhere without you because
But like the
me
people
and
that
you,
go solo camping, that literally
Kudos.
scares the crap out of me.
here's where I think I would be okay solo camping is if, and I know you have heard my obsession since we've been home from Yellowstone. If I had a camper van, I would
Like
have
something to lock yourself in
Yeah,
aside from a
like
tent.
I'm not sleeping in a tent. Like if I knew that I was gonna do like a day hike, come back, sleep in my camper van, be able to lock down, I think I would be totally fine solo
but I'd
camping.
still be scared.
I'd be probably anxious, but I'm locked in a van and I know that at any moment I can turn the keys on and I can get out. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that gives me more sense of security. Some of these people that like I watch that solo backpack up into the mountains, granted they're videotaping their whole way, but I'm like, you are without cell service likely. You're in the middle of nowhere.
I mean, they probably have like a Garmin SOS thing, but
Oh,
still,
yeah.
I'd be scared.
I don't think I'd want to do it alone, especially because I have you. You're my travel buddy. I do everything with you, and I'm so lucky to have a travel buddy because so many people don't. But
Yeah,
I don't think I would feel comfortable just throwing it all in my pack and going alone.
by myself.
I
Yeah.
like people, and I like my alone time.
I mean, like
But
I'm a yapper, so like I'm gonna be in the forest just talking to myself.
oh,
which
100%.
is fine. But after a while, you're kind of like, okay, like I'm kind of done with this
Yeah.
solitude. I want some people.
Yeah.
Like you might run across a couple people on the trail, but still, then I'd be like paranoid of like, oh my god, are they gonna circle back and kill me?
Yeah, and like the horror stories you hear of,
Because they saw I was alone.
especially women, and they're like, if you see people on the trail, you never tell them like, where's your end point?
Yep.
You always say like, oh, my boyfriend's coming. He stopped to go to the bathroom. Like you make it sound like you're not alone because especially women, they come for you. Not everyone. Not everyone's a bad person, but you have those people
You have psychos.
that are going to do something stupid, and you could be the victim of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I like how I would talk to myself. I would too. I almost look
When it comes to those situations,
Yes.
I am a yapper. I mean, you heard me when I was sitting up in the bathtub. I was singing.
But I just
I
sit there.
performed a whole concert
Oh, she did. High School Musical and Hannah Montana.
for the Fam Bam. Wow, you heard all that?
I heard all of it, Sammy.
Were you downstairs?
No, I was upstairs.
Oh, I was like, damn, I was singing loud.
You
Then.
were very. You performed, but
I don't
do
mess
this
around.
I do the same thing, and I think if I was out in the woods, I most definitely would be talking to myself the whole way.
It's like the people that take like AirPods. I'm like, no way in hell would I be
Oh,
able to put that in my
uh-uh.
ears and not hear anything. A branch could
Well-
snap right behind me and I wouldn't even know.
My thing is, okay,
Just turn a speaker on.
I wouldn't wear AirPods from the standpoint of people paranoia, but then like if you're in bear country,
I know. You got to know what's happening.
you need to be able to hear what's around you because I'm sorry, bears are fucking quiet.
Yeah.
You can come around a corner and it's like right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't risk it. Mind you, they're probably, if you're an experienced person, you're probably going, hey bear, yo bear, as
Yeah.
you walk, but still,
Or
That's
if
a
you're
no-no.
Seth, ya bear.
I know. Seth would walk around corners making, yeah bear, and I'm like,
Get it, boy?
you had David up in the front going, hey bear, like leaving it at that, and then Seth's in the back like making it cool, and I'm like, okay Seth,
All right, so let's circle back.
okay.
Tangent. All right, so some speculate that these disappearances could be the result. So this is where it's going to come into like what could possibly
The conspiracy of it all.
be. Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so
So are we leaving background?
we're still in the background, and
Okay.
then we're going to go to stories.
Gotcha.
So they think that some of these disappearances could be the result of cryptid encounters. So things like the Wendigo, the
like Appalachia.
Skinwalker, yes,
Okay.
like the Appalachia,
creatures potentially.
alien abductions,
Okay.
or even interdimensional phenomena. So like people traveling
Dude.
between dimensions.
That scares the shit out of me.
Oh,
It's
I
like the
know.
Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
And when literally, like I watched.
Have we done the Bermuda Triangle?
No, we should. Now
I
that
could
I
have swore I did it.
how have we not done that?
I think we've talked about it in a couple things, but we haven't done it.
I need to start that one at some point.
Yeah.
That would be a good one. Sorry, keep going.
So that's it for the background. And instead, we are going to look into a couple stories of disappearances in the national parks and forests and see what you think could have caused them. So it's stories with, we're going to kind of talk about
Conspiracy elements.
what do you think could have caused their disappearance?
That is totally conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay.
All right.
I'm ready. Are
The
you gonna
first story?
Are you gonna sit here and like, once upon a time there was a young lad.
Long time ago.
He's
in
strapped on a
field far,
pack.
far away.
He strapped on a pack. Like 10 miles in, was stabbed to death.
Jesus Christ. No, there's never
The
anything like that.
conspiracy is who stabbed him.
A bear. All right.
Wow, we
so
really get off
we're
track.
going to pivot and jump into
Pivot!
the first story. So the first story we're going to look at is that of Aaron Hedges. He was a 38-year-old hunter from Bozeman, Montana.
Bozeman!
Rep Bozeman.
What up?
We was just out there.
I want to live there.
Yeah. All right, so he went missing on September 7th, 2014. So not super long time ago, but
Okay.
well, I guess that's 10 years now.
Oh my
2014 just
God.
doesn't seem that long ago.
Dude, you want to know like the most, I don't know if I would say upsetting, but weird thing to me? Aunt Nancy and Aunt Heidi, I think that's Aunt Heidi's first shout out, but whatever. They, in like the last month, have both
High school reunions.
they've had high school reunions, and it dawned on me that next
that
year
you're old as hell.
I'm not old as hell. I'm 27.
I know, but it just feels that way. When you
does.
count back like how many years it's been since being out of high school, I'm
I
like,
know.
oh my
Next year is 10
God.
years.
You know what?
10 years.
I don't have to I don't ever have to say that because I go to high school every year.
Yeah, I know. You go back to school. I go back to elementary. It's like I never left.
Little
But
baby.
I just sit there and I'm like, oh my God, how is next year 10 years? I won't go to my reunion. I don't really have a desire for that,
I
but
don't even think you're going to have one.
I doubt it. My class was very
Your class was lazy.
detached. Like everyone was off in their own groups, and I just don't see anyone organizing it for everyone to come
And
back
I feel like
together.
a lot of your groups have like left.
Yeah. And even if someone was like, "Hey, I'm putting it together," I'd probably be like, "Busy. Sorry."
Thank you.
I'm not a big social person, and if I am, it tends to be like with my friends now. But yeah, it just
What
was
friends?
you're a bitch. I do have friends that I work with, and then I have you. I really don't, but I'm like, small circle, safe circle.
All right, so this Aaron guy, he went missing on the 7th of September, 2014. He was headed on a trip to the Crazy Mountains, which is a section of the northern Rocky Mountains in Montana.
All right.
He was very familiar with this area, having taken many trips there in the past, usually visiting almost every other weekend. So like this
Oh,
guy, he
wow.
was there a lot.
So very familiar with
And
this
like
area.
he wasn't just going to like a predetermined campsite and
Yeah.
camping, he would like backpack in.
All right. But if you're familiar with the area and you're an experienced backpacker, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Did he say, "Hey, bear. Yo, bear.
I'm sure if he was in that area.
Yeah, bear."
This trip, though, he did have 2 other people along with him. So his friend Greg Leitner and Joe Depew were headed on an elk hunting trip all together.
Oh, elk.
I know.
Okay.
Well, they're in that area.
Saw some of them when I was out there.
The friends were headed into the mountains with 2 horses and a pack mule in hopes of taking down some big game meat.
Okay.
So they kind of needed horses to help them carry that crap down because it's heavy.
Do you think that they perfected their bugle?
Probably.
Because we're still waiting on Seth to show us his bugle.
I know. What a hater.
Shout out to Seth. If
For
he
those of
ever,
you that don't know, Seth was our REI guide
Yeah.
when we were on our camping.
we've shouted him out
Previous.
multiple times in previous episodes, but I'm still waiting on that bugle, Seth. Like, where is it? Not coming in clutch here. But sorry, continue.
This trip was intended to be like a week-long trip. Aaron
Oh.
had prepared for the trip by setting up several pit stops with caches that contained survival materials like extra food, sleeping bags, etc. Anything that might go wrong, he had kind of in that
Prepared.
bag. Yes.
Okay.
And like
how-
apparently that's pretty common. Like
Oh,
there
yeah.
are caches all over with just like survival crap.
I think David, when we went out on the REI trip, he had talked about for people that do extended trips that they do set those up.
Mm.
It's a normal thing.
And they're like up in like it almost looks like a tree hunting stand.
Oh, I guess I don't know where they
Like,
were,
it's
but
a built cache up in the air. Some people do like string between 2 trees and
Oh,
it,
like a bear
hangs
throw?
there. Yeah.
yeah.
So there's multiple different setups, but he had many of these set up along the way just in case.
Okay. Did you say? I know you said they brought horses. How many?
2.
2. Okay.
2 and a pack mule.
I missed that. Okay.
Yeah, 2 horses and a pack mule. The first 2 days of the trip went great. However, on the 3rd day, supposedly they had some form of a horse wreck that kind of ruined some of their necessary gear. The horses were fine,
All right.
but I don't know if like a horse fell over and some of the gear
oh,
got damaged
smashed.
or whatever, but he had to go to one of his pre-set up caches for supplies.
All right.
And he determined to do that by himself. So he left his 2 guys back at camp where they had kind of set up for that night, and he was just going to quick run. I think it was like 2 miles to the cache and 2 miles back.
Did he do this in the night?
No, this was like midday.
Oh, because you said they left him at camp, and I'm like, did he like go into the night to get
No,
this
no,
stuff?
no. This was like
Okay.
midday.
All right. So he
Um,
went by himself. The other 2 are at camp. Did he take horses or anything with him?
No, he took a backpack that was like chocked full of stuff like food, a rifle, his cell phone,
Things
a
that he would need.
walkie-talkie. Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
He did have a Garmin walkie-talkie that allowed him to communicate with his 2 friends back at their makeshift camp for that night. This specific set of Garmin walkie-talkies that they were using transmitted a GPS location each time they communicated with each other. So they could kind of have an
Oh.
idea of like where the other person was.
Dude, since Yellowstone, I have come to love Garmin. We got the watches.
Except for when it insults me on my run saying my heart rate is too high.
Yeah, if there's one thing to improve, it's like, oh, I want to do this workout. It's like, we recommend a heart rate of 130. And I'm like, my resting heart
I was
rate's
gonna say,
higher.
I'm breathing at 130.
I'm not, but that's not the point. If I'm on a run, the one time I tried to run, it was like, keep it under 130 or 140. And
It's not even realistic.
I'm like, when I'm running, my heart's going, stop it! I'm going 1,000 beats a minute!
I go like 190 like that.
Yeah, like it's nothing. But no, love the products. That's really cool though that like anytime they communicate, it automatically like sends a ping.
I mean, they had to like you had to click and like communicate in
Yeah.
order for it to ping a GPS thing.
But that's neat.
But they could at least have an idea of like, okay, like he's headed towards the cache. He can see like, okay,
Yep.
here's the cache. Here's where he is. Here's
Yep.
where we are.
Okay.
Um, Aaron originally told his friends that he was going to head north towards the cache. However, as they continued communicating with him over the next few hours, his GPS location tracked him heading very far east instead. So the cache that was set
Yeah.
was like right north, and he had to kind of travel a little bit east because there was a
Okay.
mountain range that he couldn't just like walk right over. He had to
Okay.
kind of follow the valleys to get there.
Yeah.
And he followed the valley for a while, and then where he should have turned, he
Yeah.
didn't. He just continued going east.
Did they try to? I'm assuming this is a walkie-talkie, correct? You can talk to them.
Correct.
Did they question it?
So, getting there.
Oh, sorry.
It says when his friends would get in contact with him over the walkie, Aaron would say, "Sorry, I just got lost." However, for someone knowing the area like the back of their hand,
Yeah.
how would you lose track of where you put the cache?
Well, especially because one, he's done this area how many times,
He
and
set up the
two,
cache.
he set it up.
Yeah,
And now you're like, I just got lost. That seems weird.
it was very weird.
Oh, that's like red flag number 1. I'm unsettled.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
So, completely started heading in the wrong direction. I mean,
Not
I guess
completely,
going past where he should have gone. He should have turned, headed back, kind of northwest,
but northeast.
back up to the
Yeah.
cache,
Oh,
and
northwest.
then
Yeah.
came back down and then back over.
My thing is, okay, so they questioned it, and he goes, "I'm sorry, I got lost." Did he then correct it from there?
No.
No.
Yeah. So
Does
he
it get
continued to go east.
even after essentially being called out for it?
Correct.
Was there a cache that way?
No.
Ooh.
So later, the two friends back at camp eventually lost contact with Aaron because after you get out of range, the
Yeah.
walkies can't communicate anymore.
Oh my god.
And they would later report him missing.
Oh
Yeah.
my, that makes
So
my
it's essentially
stomach
like
upset.
he just walked right out of their lives.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah. So
That legitimately makes my stomach hurt right now.
I know. 2 days after Aaron went missing, a huge snowstorm blew into the area.
Well, shit, if he is out, he's gone.
So search and rescue teams found Aaron's boots and his camelback water bottle during their search.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Did they find it eastward? Like they had,
Yes. So
okay.
it was in that eastward direction.
It did follow that path.
And we'll get into like how many miles from places he was.
Oh.
But so the choice for Aaron to take off his shoes was a questionable one because one, you just had this huge snowstorm. Why would you take your shoes off?
Yeah. Well, okay, sorry, because I'm not remembering every detail. Did you say was it winter? Or was it fall?
You're in the peaks. It's gonna snow.
Oh, okay.
It's
So,
Bozeman.
okay. I wasn't thinking about that.
It was September. So it's gonna snow more.
It's heading towards fall.
Yeah, September. September 7th he went missing.
Which makes sense because that's when they stopped doing guided trips. Like, because winter comes earlier there.
Yep.
Okay.
So they found his boots and his camelback water bottle. And again, taking off the shoes is a questionable one. However, depending on the state he was in, his brain may have been kind of clouding his decision making.
Yeah.
There are many people that think that hypothermia might have been playing a role here in kind of helping to cloud his decision making.
Okay.
His backpack was later found 6 miles down the mountain next to a spot where a person appeared to have had a cup of tea and kind of rested.
Oh, I don't like this.
So his boots were already discovered.
Okay, boots were discovered how far? Did it give a mileage?
I'm gonna get to that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get spaced out.
I'm gonna get to that.
But
so,
the backpack was 6 miles.
Yes.
That's like so far out of the way.
I know.
Okay.
And like it appeared like somebody had sat there with the backpack. There was a thermos
okay.
with the cup set aside, so like the top part that you snap off
Like
and use
someone
to
had
drink.
stopped to have a
Like
drink.
someone drank it. It was set open right there.
Like he might
next to the
wait.
backpack.
Sorry, I thought I heard static.
So it was set open right there, like next to the backpack, as though someone had like just drank out of it.
And,
Mind
like,
you, the tea
walked
was
off.
cold, but like it looked as though he just sat there, enjoyed a drink, and sat and watched. Now,
Okay.
the creepier thing.
God, this already makes me feel uneasy and I feel like I'm being watched. I don't know what it is about podcasting at night. I feel like someone is watching me through the window at all times.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna have to like get blackout curtains, man. Okay, creepier.
Well,
I can do it.
Every door is locked. I've already checked.
Because of this podcast?
No, I check every night now that Stalker Boy's out there.
Yeah.
Because it's for my peace of mind. Otherwise, I don't sleep very well.
That's why I have a golf club next to my bed. I will beat the ever-living shit out of anyone that comes in my room.
All right, so it's important to note that the backpack was full.
Full of all the
Full.
gear.
It says, inside, rescuers found plenty of food, guns, ammo. They also recovered his cell phone. In addition to his bag being chock full of supplies, where he was sitting was in a direct view of a ranch below.
Oh God.
Yeah. Rescuers said that from that point where it appeared someone sat and enjoyed a cup of tea, you could see a road with many houses on it, one of them being a ranch right below him. And when I say right below, I'm like, it's miles down,
But it
but
doesn't
you could
matter.
see it. So if you were lost,
You would be able to go down to get help.
you would at least be able to get to the road and find somebody to help you.
Oh, this makes me feel really uneasy.
Yeah.
So, oh, it's raining.
It's rain.
Holy fuck.
You're like,
So, shoes are off.
shoes are off.
Water bottle was left behind.
Camelback water bottle was left kind of with the boots.
Oh, same area ish.
Yeah.
Okay, backpack 6 miles down, cup of tea's out, and you have full view of safe haven.
Yes.
Oh,
All right.
question. Did it say, was his Garmin thing there?
It said cell phone. I'm assuming that's what that was meant.
Okay, shit.
That his cell phone was found
Yeah.
in his bag. I'm assuming that's his Garmin walkie-talkie is what they were meaning.
Because I was like, if he walked off with that, maybe the officers could ping it somehow, but
Yeah.
okay.
So for some unknown reason, he didn't walk down and get help. I mean, you would think that like, okay, like
Does he just
if
go
you are
senile?
lost, you would go down and be like, hey, there's a house there. Maybe they could help me. But no, he didn't. It was 1 year later that Aaron's remains were found. 1 year later. 1 year later.
How does it take that long? Was he so far off?
It took so long to like discover him and discover these missing things. They reported him missing and
Yeah.
like they hunted and hunted and they found all of like the paraphernalia, but they didn't find his body. And the reason for that is because his remains were found 15 miles from where he was last located.
Shut up.
Yeah.
15 miles?
15 miles. And usually like when they search, they do like a 5-mile radius.
Oh my gosh.
He was 15 miles from where he last communicated with them.
Oh.
This rain is adding to the ambiance.
This
here.
rain?
It's fucking scary.
This rain is literally making me want to crawl out of my skin at the moment.
I think I'm hearing something, but I know
Same.
it's that.
And I know that everyone's going to listen to this and they're not going to hear the rain, but I'm hearing the rain and know that it is terrifying.
So he was found 15 miles from the last known location.
Is that known location the backpack?
Okay.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding.
So his last known location was the last time he pinged with the other campers.
Gotcha.
So that was kind of like when he was at the point where he should have turned and didn't.
Okay.
In the valleys.
Gotcha.
Then he continued on, and I'm going to kind of give you a couple more numbers, and it says where he was found, that 15 miles away, he was 6 miles away from his boots and backpack.
Oh.
So he walked 6 miles without his boots and without his bag with all of his stuff in it.
And for someone that is an experienced backpacker, you would have never done that.
The thing that makes my skin crawl.
Is this episode going to make me cry?
I don't think so.
I low-key feel like I'm going to be like on the verge of tears with this information you're going to present.
Maybe you will. I don't know.
I apologize to anyone that has to listen to that.
But the thing that creeped me out was that his corpse was found, yet it was missing his 2 feet. And I don't know if walking 15 plus miles without boots,
you would not just have your feet gone.
You wouldn't lose your feet, but like
you'd beat the shit out of them.
He literally had stumps at his ankles. His feet were gone and they never found them.
Did something like eat them off?
There was not bite marks, or I mean, I guess you can't really necessarily tell if it's a bite mark, and depending on how decomposed, because they found him a year later. But
oh yeah.
But he did not have feet. No feet bones, no feet skin, nothing. No feet. Stumps.
His feet were cut off. 100% feet were cut off. There's no way. You don't walk your feet right off. You can walk to the point where your feet are bloody and gross and cut open
Correct.
and destroyed.
But you would still have your feet.
You would not have stumps.
Yeah.
His feet had to have been cut off. And I don't see an animal, because if an animal comes
choosing to just bite the feet,
you wouldn't just eat the feet off. And if, let's say, an animal did, I would think there'd still be
bite
bone.
marks somewhere.
There'd be bone remains. Like,
yeah,
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Do we know, was he clothed?
He had his clothes on. It was not like he was naked. He had his
Okay.
clothes on. He just didn't have his backpack. He didn't have his boots. He didn't have any of his stuff.
And he clearly didn't have feet.
Correct.
Was anything else missing?
Not that was stated.
Okay.
So it was later determined that he was more than likely had died from hypothermia and exposure.
This low-key makes me want to vomit. Just thought I'd let you know. That's so upsetting.
Now, there is a theory that the reason he went missing has to do with the naming of these mountains. You remember what the mountains were named?
Give me a second. It was the top part of the Rockies. No, I don't remember.
The Crazy Mountains.
Motherfuck, I should have known that. Because I related it to Crazy Horse.
Now, the story for how they name these mountains is kind of lost in time.
Okay.
But although it suggests that the Native Americans of the area would use these mountains to go on spiritual journeys and visual quests where they would attempt to unlock the deeper meaning and understanding of themselves and the world better.
Okay, but that ties directly to when I did the podcast in Appalachia. Wendigos are supposedly Native American spirits that are like dark witch spirits.
Okay.
And like they torment and do bad things to humans, but that goes with Wendigos and skinwalkers. They're like Native American witches.
Because you had done the Appalachian?
Yeah.
Or Appalachian, I don't know.
I call it Appalachian.
I call it Appalachian.
They call it Appalachia.
I know it's wrong, but
Yeah.
I figured you'd be able to add your 2 cents.
Yeah, no, and it originally, I want to say the first mountain range was Appalachia, but then like other Native American tribes went into other mountain ranges and also did it, but they were known as like you would call them like the witch, the black magic of the Native American tribes. There was
So did
always,
the Native Americans like create these things?
the way I understood it, and I hope I'm not butchering it, but when I did like almost 20 hours of research on this because I wanted to make sure I had everything to be educated as best as I could, which 20 hours isn't that much, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
There would normally be like a black magic person within the tribe. It typically was a woman.
Okay.
And this woman would be able to contact the afterlife, would be able to contact spirits and conjure them to this place. And it really kind of sounds like in our day, like a Ouija board. Like you're
Okay.
opening it up for bad voodoo to come in
Okay.
and bad things to happen.
And it just took form of a Wendigo?
It took form of like a skinwalker, a Wendigo, an evil spirit coming in, and it can morph from an animal into a human. Like it's a shapeshifter.
Can't Wendigos like shapeshift?
Yes, they're known as shapeshifters. When seen in the skinwalker, Wendigo, and they are different if you look at like the actual definition of them, but they're very, very close related. When in the actual form, they almost look like close to like a human. They tend to like crawl on all fours. They're very tall,
So
lengthy.
like wolf/human?
I wouldn't
Starved
say
wolf?
wolf. It looks like a very anorexic, very tall human,
Okay.
and like very, very white. And they walk on all fours, but can stand up and walk on 2 feet.
Absolutely.
It's very
no.
unsettling. But then when you look into the history and the stories that have been out there for years and years and years, they can shapeshift into animals. And that's when you get the like, someone's calling me over my shoulder.
Okay.
And then it's like, you're not supposed to acknowledge it because if you acknowledge it, bad things will happen.
Okay.
And so it really comes down to like, there's the black magic within the Native American tribes, and they would like summon it. And it was, I think initially it was supposed to be like a good thing, like contacting the afterlife of like, when we die, we're going to come to you. And then it really kind of opened like maybe a portal to bad things happening.
Okay.
And it's opened up and it travels through multiple different mountain chains. And I mean, when I say multiple, I mean this is in multiple national parks. So like,
Yeah.
it's a very common thing.
Okay.
But I do remember doing that research.
But I suppose the native people of that time, that was the land that they were using.
Yeah, it was.
Was those.
And it was not that it was safe to live up there, but that's where they were and that's where they built home. And oftentimes when they did these like seances or they did these, I don't even know what you would call it, rituals, they would go up into the mountains to do them.
Yeah.
Because the higher you are, the closer you are to God.
Which is what I'm going to get into.
Oh, okay, perfect.
They believe that these mountains, you could access the astral plane's spiritual world, so a little bit higher to God, you could feel it.
Yep.
And you just couldn't outside of that area.
Okay.
So could the natives have been onto something that in these crazy mountains, the magnetism of their geological structure, or maybe even the plants in the area, emits something that makes you almost like lose your mind a little?
Yeah.
Because Aaron's actions make no sense. He had all the
Yeah.
materials he would have needed to survive until getting to that cache.
Well, that's
Because the
thing,
cache was
and
not like
that far
miles
out.
and miles
Wasn't
away.
it only 2 miles?
It was about 2 miles.
It was 2 miles, and he's an experienced backpacker, and he knows the area. It'd be different if it was like someone else put the cache there, and he had not been to this area.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, oh,
There's a whole
shit.
ass documentary on this. Like, we should watch it.
Is it on a streaming service?
I'm not watching it tonight, though, because I
No.
will crap myself.
I will be terrified. But it's crazy to me that this man has been in this mountain range numerous times.
Lots of times.
He put the cache there himself.
Yep.
And then you go off, and then when you're questioned about it, you're like, sorry, I just got lost. And then, like, you continue to go in the wrong direction.
Yep.
And being experienced, you took your boots off and like you left your backpack, had a nice cup of tea, and like
in
you said,
front of housing.
in front of roads, like you can see civilization, and then from there you're found even further in the wrong direction.
Yep.
And your feet are gone. That's upsetting.
It's weird.
Things are not lining up. I don't like it.
I mean, there's also some behavioral survival instincts found when researchers were on the hunt. They found a site where it appeared he lit a fire. They
Oh.
also found an area that looked as though he made a small shelter for the night. So, like, these types of behavior do not sound like that of a man who's not knowledgeable about the wildlife.
Yeah.
Like, he knew what the hell he was doing.
So it looked like at some point he was trying to survive.
Yes. And I just don't understand. So, like, why did he end up dead when he had so many instances where he could have saved himself?
Yeah. And it probably didn't help because, okay,
It's like he just continued to go mad.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden
I don't like
appeared with no
this.
feet.
And like a year later. But like you said, most times
They
when
search usually about a 5 to 10 mile radius
And
to be
he's
15 miles
15.
away.
Do you know, did they find him or did someone come upon him?
Someone in that area. I want to say it was a rancher, but don't take my word for it. I
Okay.
thought he came across like some items and then found him.
So someone eventually called in going, there's a dead person out here.
Yeah.
Oh.
And by then, like,
It was-
pretty decomposed.
It's a year.
They did dental records and found him.
Okay. Oh, God. I would hate to be the person. That's always a fear of mine. Granted,
Finding a body.
when
Ugh.
we do national parks, we are always in a huge group. So, like, I would be traumatized, but I'd be traumatized with 12 other people. I cannot imagine being out there one alone or two, maybe with a very small group of like 2 to 3 and being like, shit, there's a dead person.
And then being in an area with like no cell service, I'd be like, well.
And the thing is, okay, you're going to have to hike to service to call for help. Or if you can call for help, I'm like, do I have to sit with this body? Because I'm unsettled.
Maybe just give him a waypoint, lock it in, and
Right?
say, I found it
No.
here.
That is the one thing that, like, if I worked in the wildlife
yeah.
national park section or sector, no way in hell.
Be a ranger.
Let me be a ranger where I can, like, walk on the normal trails and talk to people and be smiley like the rangers we saw. I don't want to be the ranger that has to go out and be like, that's a dead body. Pass.
I'll clean a pit potty.
Hard pass. No. Did you see the pit potties? Good God. There were times where I'm like, I should just
Would you
use a
rather pick up a
facility.
dead body and remove it?
See me, I'm not pumping out a fucking pit potty. I'm not doing it. There's not enough money in this world.
There's probably a company they pay to come
When
in.
we walked into some of those,
I was like,
there were times where I'm like, I turned around, I'm like, I don't need to go that bad. I can hold it.
I'll use a facility.
Thank you, Seth, for that fun word. You know, REI, our guides, our people on the trip got a lot of shout outs today. But I'm sorry, continue. It's very unsettling. The thing that I struggle with is like he was experienced. It'd be different if he was not experienced.
There was signs of him wanting to survive.
That's the hard part is like
It's not like he just given up hope and was like hella depressed.
He was scared?
God, I don't know.
That's my thing is like,
but my
did
thing
he
is,
know he was going crazy?
I was gonna say if you're going crazy, most people don't know it, and they probably think what they're doing is normal, and then it just gets too far.
And me being me, if I'm solo and I'm like, okay, shit, I'm out in the woods, I'm clearly lost, and I'm setting up a shelter. It's not a tent because he left that behind.
Yep.
Wildlife can get to me, and I'm panicking because it's dark. It is so dark in national parks at night. It is unreal how dark it is.
Yep.
I'd be panicking. Like, I'd be running to that house. I would throw my body down the mountain and just roll until I got to the house because I'd be so scared.
But then again, you probably also don't want to move during the nighttime.
Oh, God, no.
That's when other animals are out, and then you're a target.
But then you just sit there, and I can only imagine how terrified.
It's probably the longest night ever.
You just lay there and go, what did I just hear? I heard nothing. I'm hearing nothing. I think I'd just keep my eyes closed.
It adds to the crazy.
It adds to the driving you absolutely mad.
Yep.
Oh, this is unsettling.
So that concludes our first story.
I don't like it. Am I supposed to now like guess what happened, or are we gonna do that at the very end?
I mean, we can do that at the end.
Okay.
The second story is similar.
You know what we didn't do?
What?
Shout outs.
We can do shout outs at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
The second story is similar to the first,
Okay.
but still different.
Okay.
Kind of different in a very different way.
So not similar at all is what you're saying.
Yeah.
They're similar, but different. But different in a big way.
Someone goes missing.
Okay.
There.
So that's the similarity.
Yes.
The only thing that connects.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. We are going to talk about that of Thomas Messick. He was an 82-year-old man.
Well, shit, right there alone. Why are we 82
No,
going alone?
He was an agile 82-year-old.
That fear, that's already scaring me. Like, I think at 82, I still want to be active and going out and doing stuff, but probably not alone.
He's not alone.
Oh, shit. So he's going missing with people? For fuck's sake, this is terrifying.
All right, so this 82-year-old man, he was a former Army Ranger who enjoyed teaching survival classes, and he was very experienced in camping and hunting.
No freaking way. So he literally is the poster child for I can survive in
Like
national parks
another
alone.
person that is like, he could totally do it.
Okay.
In November of 2015, so a year later after the other one, and mind you, this is totally other side of the world.
Where was this? Sorry, I didn't catch the
I haven't
place.
done it yet.
Oh, okay.
So it was November of 2015. Thomas and 6 others, so 7 total,
Okay.
went hunting at Lily Pond in northeastern New York.
Oh, completely different direction.
Yeah, so
All
totally
right.
opposite side of the U.S.
Okay.
It is like a heavily forested mountainous area.
Yeah.
So it's still foresty. I believe it's a national forest. It's not a national park.
Gotcha.
The 7 men arrived at Lily Pond around noon and parked right next to the lake. But before arriving at the lake, they had set up a campsite about a 12-minute drive. It's a 2-mile hike.
Okay.
Further up the trail. Everyone in the group was equipped with a backpack that was full of gear and a walkie-talkie that they used to communicate with one another, and they also all had a rifle for protection.
Okay.
The hunting tactic that these men were planning on using looks very much like a huge circle. So they kind of go in the forest and they spread way the hell out.
Okay.
And they form a circle, and the idea is that like one line will drive the animals to the other, and then the other line will shoot at them.
Yep, I've heard about that.
So that was their plan.
Okay.
Hold on, let me get
There's 7 men?
7 men.
Okay.
The 4 older men spread out further into the forest, so about 400 yards was the stretch that they were doing, each person about 100 yards from the next.
Okay.
So it's about a football field's length in between each of them.
Okay.
In this circle, Thomas was in the position where he was the furthest one into the woods away from the lake.
Well, mistake number 1, but okay.
Mind you sound the 82-year-old the furthest.
I'm like, why are we giving him the hardest job?
But whatever.
Let's give him the least amount of walking.
But the younger people
Yeah.
were going to walk towards them and drive. So they literally just had to stand there and wait to shoot.
Okay.
So the younger ones were the ones driving the animals towards them.
Okay.
Or at least that was their idea. About 2 hours went by, and the men determined that they were not finding or hearing any wildlife.
Red
So
flag.
over the course of this 3-hour hunt, almost all of the hunters heard nothing. No squirrels, no birds, no walking, no crunching of leaves, no blowing of trees. Literally nothing.
No birds?
No birds.
Squirrels?
No squirrels. Nothing was moving. Nothing was making noise. Obviously, like a wind might come through and like rustle the tree leaves, but no wildlife was moving.
That's not shooting up warning signs for them? That seems weird.
Only one man heard a sound, and he described it as a loud snapping or cracking lights-like sound, almost like a large trap shutting.
Okay.
He's the only guy that heard something.
Was this an older guy, younger guy?
I want to say it was one of the older ones that was closest to Thomas.
So he was a guy standing waiting for animals to be driven to him.
Correct.
Okay.
So by 3 p.m., mind you, they started this at noon.
Okay, so 3
about
hours.
3 hours later,
Mhm.
they decided to kind of call it quits for the day and head back to the car because nothing was happening.
Yeah.
They heard nothing. They saw nothing. They were like, okay, obviously it's not our day.
That doesn't
We'll
seem
just
right.
head back to the campsite and hunt there.
Yeah.
But when everyone got back near the lake, they realized that Thomas was not among them.
How did they determine, like, when they were calling it quits? Did they, like, radio and go,
They
hey?
walkied.
Okay.
Yep, they walkie-talkie to each other.
When they walkied, was Thomas on the walkie?
Not from what I read.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the head of it was like, hey, we're headed back in, and everybody just was like, okay, we're headed back in.
Okay.
It's not like everybody said 10-4.
Taylor's signing on. I'm coming.
Yeah, no.
Okay. They just knew that when he gave the call to come in.
Yes.
Okay.
So they were headed back to the car right where they parked by the lake.
Okay.
All right, now this is where we get a little bit more info on Thomas.
I don't think I want more info on Thomas.
He was partially deaf in one ear,
Well, fuck.
and he also had lost an eye in an explosion in his youth.
Why did we give Thomas the hardest job?
Partially deaf and
Blind in an eye.
Missing an eye. Like his eye's gone. Like it's just like his eyelid covers it, but like you can tell his eye's not there.
Let's send him furthest into the woods. The poor man probably fell into the trap that snapped.
So my reason I'm telling you this is like he was mobile and communicative. However, he was not the type of guy that would walk off by himself into a forest to investigate something further based on lack of hearing and lack of sight.
Why did we not give Thomas a partner? Why did he not have a man with him at all times? He is someone that you put on a leash.
Because he's a seasoned pro. He does this all the time.
You know, when we went to
this was
Disney?
child's play for him.
When we went to Disney and those kids were on a leash, we put Thomas on a leash.
No,
He's missing an eye. He's deaf in one ear.
partially deaf.
I don't give a shit. He needs a leash.
No,
I
he
mean,
doesn't.
Thomas, you're attached to my waist. I'm sorry this sucks for you, but I can't. He is missing an entire eyeball, Sammy.
He's still got one. He can
Partially deaf.
He could.
He's 82 years old.
But he's a seasoned pro.
I don't care how seasoned you are. God. I'm sorry, Thomas. I'd have leashed you up. Oh, good lord.
Anyways, they had not heard anyone communicate on the walkie-talkie, and they had not heard any shots from the rifle. So, like,
Oh, so they're all back at the lake now.
correct.
Okay.
So they hadn't heard any like updates of like, hey, it's Thomas, I'm coming, but I'm just not there yet. Nothing.
Okay.
No rifle fires. Like, okay, he's self-defense, trying to protect himself. Nothing.
And you would have heard that because it sounds like the forest was relatively quiet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they began searching for him. The group split into 2 smaller groups, each having 3 guys in it,
Okay.
because there was 6 left after he was missing.
Yep.
Half of them went back up the trail to the campsite to see, like, okay, maybe Thomas just went to the campsite, not knowing to come back to the car.
Yeah.
It was only 2 miles away.
Forgetting.
It was doable.
Yeah.
The other 3 stayed by the car, and they honked the horn. They fired shots into the air of, like, if he lost his way, they would be able to find him based on the noise.
That feels eerie.
But
How would you like
Thomas-
that honking job? Hey, honk it 2 more times. Hey, Thomas, you out there,
Yeah.
buddy?
So
Follow the gunfire.
they honked, they fired the rifle a few times, just hoping that maybe he would hear it and be able to kind of find his way back. So they waited there a little bit longer, and he didn't come.
Did they ever send anyone back in? Okay, I'm getting ahead of you. Sorry.
That's okay. After he hadn't come for a while, they were like, okay, like, let's head into the forest and kind of look where we had left him.
Okay.
They went to his spot. He wasn't there. Yet they did search through a lot of the night. However, they determined that they eventually needed to get authorities involved. So that morning, the forest rangers, firefighters, and National Guard began searching. There was about a 700 plus person search party that came out to help.
Holy crap.
Mind you, you're in New York, so you've got like a
You
pretty
have
good
more.
chunk of
The
people.
fact that they brought National Guard in. Normally it's like forest rangers, and I'm impressed that firemen. I guess I wouldn't have thought.
It was like, it wasn't firefighters that were like on duty. It was
Okay.
like volunteer firefighters that were
Oh.
like, we'll come and help.
Yeah.
Um,
700. That's insane.
This search party looking for Thomas included helicopters, thermal sensors, and search dogs.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like they were on the hunt. Like this guy,
They
they
weren't- they-
wanted to find him.
Using every resource.
A 5-mile radius was searched and there was no trace of Thomas. Nothing.
Okay.
Something interesting was that morning the FBI also arrived to assist in the search.
That right there is the biggest fucking red flag. Why are you showing up?
However, the weird thing was nobody had told the FBI about his missing or his disappearance.
How the fuck did they find out then?
And with the nearest FBI office being over an hour away, how would they have heard about this?
No, That is issue number 1. What? It makes no sense for them to get involved in this matter at all.
And the FBI does not usually get involved in domestic missing person cases unless it's a child.
And he's an 82-year-old man. He is the complete opposite of what a child is.
Yep.
No, what's bigger than a red flag? A giant red flag.
Well, my thing's like, how'd they know?
Someone would have had to tip them off.
Someone must have.
Or they have a fucking trap set and they're like, alarm, alarm, there's something in the trap.
Thomas is in the trap.
We've been waiting for this old man for years.
No, like, no
How
clue.
the hell?
Should they all of a sudden just be like, we gotta go over here?
I don't, this is worse than the first story.
And the thing that was weird was that the FBI straight up told his wife, I didn't include it here because I didn't think it was necessary, but the FBI told his wife, Thomas's wife,
Okay.
that like there's something off about his disappearance.
Yeah, the fact that you fucking showed up to search for him.
Yeah, but like they thought like this was weird. This was like the weirdest thing they'd ever seen. And like made a point to go tell Thomas's wife this.
So it's almost like they wanted her to like speak to the public.
It's weird.
Like, why are you tipping her off? Why are you going and making her more uneasy? Because I'm sorry, he's 82. I'd assume she's in the same ballpark of age range. Why are you going and let's add to the unease? She literally just lost her husband. We can't find him, and now you're gonna go and be like, this is really not okay. Like
This is
seems
weird.
This seems ominous to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's add to the unease. This poor
Mhm.
woman's heart is gonna just bust and break.
And mind you, he was
No.
82, he lived a long life, but still, to go missing and have no explanation.
I would honestly, if I was her, I know myself and how I grieve, and I think I'd get very defensive and be like, "How did you find out he went missing?"
Yeah.
Because I know myself, I get very quick to the defense of it all, and I'd be like, "Oh, like, why are you here?
Who told you?
How did you
But
find
they'd probably
out?"
lie and be like, "Oh,
Oh,
your
yeah,
local police officers told us."
100%. But I just sit there and them just randomly showing up, why?
Yep.
Especially because you were not tipped off. You like, this is not lining up for me. Why are you in on this case? But the part I have a really hard time with is, okay, they search this huge radius. They have 700 some people. They have helicopters, thermal radar. You're not finding anything?
Nothing.
5 mile, like, that's a
And that's a 5-mile
huge.
radius. That's a 10-mile diameter.
And they were doing this like the next day.
So the
Because this happened, they
this
searched into the night and then they got authorities contacted.
correct. The search lasted for 10 days with thousands of people combing these woods and not a single thing was found. They did not even find any candy wrappers, which apparently he was known for eating.
This man was abducted. 100%. I don't know if it was by aliens. I don't know if it was by other people. Something is not lining up here for me. That nothing was found. And
Nothing.
I'm sorry. Yes, he might be a quick, agile 82-year-old man. You don't get that far away when we're tracking you with thermal cams, sky monitoring, and we have that many people on the
And
ground.
it was the next day that they did all this crap.
Yeah, You're not getting that far, especially in the night. And you have one eye. You have one eye.
And partial hearing in one ear.
Partial hearing. You have one freaking eye, and you're 82, and it's pitch black because you're in the middle of this forest at night. You're not getting that far. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. This man was taken. I don't know who he was taken by, but I 100% believe he's not in these woods because he was taken out of the woods. I don't like this. This doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
It's pissing me off. This is my grieving. I'm on the defense here. Get Thomas back. What year was this?
2015.
2015? Well, shit. He'd probably be dead. 92,
2015.
92 or 93 by now.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be alive. Wherever he was abducted, I demand answers.
Yeah, so where did he disappear to?
Mm,
Some people speculate that a Wendigo may have plucked Thomas right out from under our noses,
okay.
that they would have explained the absolute absence of noises in the forest.
Oh, yes.
Because
they say
everybody knows that
Mhm.
when animals sense danger, they're going to go quiet because they don't want them to be able to
Fuck.
find them.
I forgot about that. That's
So-
literally number one thing.
Having no noise would be an automatic tip off of like something's wrong here.
Yeah.
Something's fucked up. We got to get the hell out.
It's not even that they get out. They literally just go into like dormancy. They get
No,
silent.
as humans, I'd be like, we need to get
Oh,
the fuck out
yes.
of these forests because something is wrong.
I thought you were
not a
talking animals.
Single animal. There's not a single noise. You heard that weird ass
Mhm.
snapping, cracking noise. That
Yep.
right there would have been the tip off. I would have been on the walkie like, we need to get the fuck out of here now.
But my thing is, were these men educated on this?
Yeah, like they collectively as a group went hunting multiple times a year.
I know, but were they educated on the like a Wendigo and like if the forest gets quiet, like
that I don't know.
because if you don't know that information,
But
you
they
just
had
wouldn't
said
know.
this was the quietest hunt they had ever went on in their 55 years of going hunting.
That right there would have been like I need to get out of here. This doesn't feel
Like
right.
this isn't normal. And mind you, they only stayed for 3 hours. Usually hunts last way the hell longer than that.
Yeah,
But
but to see
to
nothing.
stay 3 hours and still not
I'm-
even see a squirrel.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. You step foot into any woods, you're seeing a chipmunk, you're seeing a mole, you're seeing a squirrel, you're seeing something small. To hear nothing and see nothing right there is a sign to me that something is not right about this area.
Yes, I mean, could something of paranormal descent have kind of
Stepped in.
plucked Thomas right out from under us or conjured him into like coming into somewhere? But I just can't imagine with a guy of that.
You said this was New York.
He's the most knowledgeable. Yes.
Okay, so when I did my podcast on Appalachia, New York was the hub for way back. I want to say it was 60s or 70s. I'd have to go back and listen to the episode or look at my research for it. There is like old bunkers where military supposedly did experiments on things, and that's how these creatures might have been released into the forest. And I want to say it was in New York.
Well, he was an Army Ranger.
Yeah.
So he was part of the Army and he was a Ranger. So I
Yeah.
feel like he would have known about those things.
if he was in that division of the military, because I don't know, I don't remember what division of the military supposedly did these experiments,
Okay.
but I want to say the hub for which they were accidentally released into the national park of Appalachia, I want to say was at the tip of New York.
Creepy.
Because I remember there were stories about bunkers, and I'm pretty sure I left that in the podcast. I don't think I edited that out.
Yeah.
But I'll have to go back and re-listen to that.
I remember you talking about bunkers,
There
but
were-
like you said, I don't know if it was clipped.
I want to say I left it in there, but there was the rumor that military it was kind of like Stranger Things. Like we had done supposedly we had done experiments to try to see like what can we do? Can we create something bigger?
Like, why?
Yeah.
Why are we fucking doing that?
I don't know, but I want to say that took place. It was New York or Pennsylvania, and that supposedly.
But still, Pennsylvania's right over in that area.
It is. So it could have easily gotten up to there, but I don't remember where the bunkers were located. But
Okay.
regardless, this man is
Scary.
missing, and like there's zero trace. And FBI just shows up. Why is the government involved in this?
I know.
Doesn't
with
seem right.
no tip off.
Yeah. The fact that the government just shows up, like I said, as the wife, I'd be like, why are you here? Why are you adding to the situation and making me feel even more unease?
But at that point, she probably felt a sense of security because she's like, the FBI is here. It's gonna get solved. They're gonna find Thomas. Because
I just feel
it's
so bad
It's
for her.
helping and giving a sense of security because now you have so many more qualified people on the search.
Okay. Did the FBI, when they came and were like, we don't feel right about this, did they have a plan of action?
I think that was at the end of that 10-day search that they had kind of
Okay.
offhandedly made that comment of like, this was really weird. Like we don't know where the hell he is.
Okay.
I mean, and like for him to disappear, I mean, not that it would make sense, but he was the furthest one in the forest, farthest away from the lake. So he might have kind of been like the easiest target
Yeah.
for something of that paranormal descent. He would have had the farthest to walk to get to the car. What?
He probably didn't even hear or see it coming.
God, you're such a bitch.
I'm sorry. It's so
He had
horrible.
one eye and a full hearing and partial hearing.
Oh my God. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? My biggest thing, and I know that like these older men that have this experience, they probably hold with them like the glory days of like, I can still do it. And the thing is, he probably was fully capable of doing these
But
things.
at a certain point, I feel like I'll be like, you know what? I'll be the guy that stays
Yeah.
closer to the lake and
Yeah.
I'll draw him to you.
Well, I just like, why didn't we send maybe someone a little bit younger on the furthest trek? Like maybe have kept him a little bit closer, but even then, it probably would have targeted whoever was there,
Yeah.
young or old. But I'm like, he didn't stand a chance. If something got him,
Yeah.
he didn't stand a chance.
The other thing that I thought of as I was doing this research was that the one hunter explained the sound as like a large trap closing.
Yeah.
So could Thomas be like stuck in a trap hidden underground somewhere?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Like could something have clunked open, dropped him down in? It would make sense that there's no trace of him. There's literally nothing left.
and that's my thing is like, okay,
He's in a bunker. He can't use his walkie.
was the FBI trying to trap something else and he fell into the trap?
I have no clue.
Because my thing is, the weird part, and like I think I had said it even previously, did something fall into a trap and it like set off a sensor to the FBI and they're like, ooh, we got something.
Yeah.
And that's why they showed up, because it still does not align for me as to why they showed up. Why did they show up?
Yeah.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, maybe local authorities did tip them off, like, because local authorities maybe know that something else is going on. And they're like,
Like, hey,
you need to
this
get in
forest
here.
is fucked up. You're the ones that did it. You need to come solve
like,
this.
you need to come look at this because now another person is missing.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming that other people have likely gone missing in the past, but this one just
yeah.
maybe drew more attention.
These are just 2 stories of
Yeah.
like thousands.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, so yeah, maybe they were tipped off, but maybe he fell into something and he did get trapped, and maybe by the time they got there, he was dead, and they were like, oh, this just seems really weird.
He's just gone.
But it doesn't sit right with me that like he wasn't coming up on thermal cams. We had this many people searching. They combed this forest area that he would have been in.
That's where the bunker getting dropped in
Yeah.
makes sense.
That's my
Because
thing.
if it's like ironclad, you wouldn't see any heat sensors.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be able to use your walkie.
Yep.
You wouldn't have any trace because literally everything drops in with you.
Yeah.
Like I could see that.
And I'm gonna
could
have to
also
go back and listen to that episode because I know I talked about bunkers. I just don't remember the state they were in.
I mean, I could also see like something snatching him
Yeah.
and just
Killing it right off the bat.
Yes.
Gone. Because let's just say, because who knows if these supernatural beings are real?
Yeah.
We don't know if a Wendigo or a Skinwalker is real. There's stories. There's, what is it? legends, there's
Yep, legends.
you know what I mean, um, that have been passed down, but truly, unless you experience it firsthand, you don't know if it is actually real.
Correct. And then there's so many people that are like, "Well, you're just lying. It was probably this," and,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
And it really goes to your own personal beliefs and what you believe in and what you think can actually happen, but I just sit there and I'm like, if these creatures or things or whatever you wanna call them are real, I can only imagine how terrifying they are. And literally, like, I would assume kill you like that, like, instantly.
It is one thing I never wanna come across.
I wanna visit every national park, but Appalachia, I'm literally just gonna foot in, foot out, I've done it, get my sticker, and leave the park. I have no desire to hike up after everything I've learned. I don't wanna
Even
experience
with
it.
a group, I'm still
Nope.
nervous.
Even if REI was like, "You get a free trip, and we'll put 50 people in the group," I'm sorry, it's a pass. It's a pass. I can't bring myself to do
I
it.
need 28 bodyguards.
With automatic semi-rifle, but even then, if these creatures exist,
A rifle's not taking 'em
no
down.
gun is taking it down, you are dead. So, it's gonna be a step my foot in the park and go, "Yay, I've been here!" Hit the gift center as I walk out to get my sticker and my map, and I am done.
Deuces.
Yeah, this doesn't sit right with me. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I really guess I don't know what I think there. Any more on his story?
No, that's it.
Nothing else came of it? No body found a year later?
Disappeared, never to be found, still open case.
That is upsetting. So the first case, did they just close that and say, "We found the body. Yay!"
They found the body and then they kind of determined that he died from exposure and
Okay.
hypothermia. Or what do you think really happened to Aaron and Thomas? Is it that some national parks have weird magnetism or geographical structures that lead you to losing your mind? Or are there paranormal beings out there plucking people right out of thin air? Or could it simply be that these people are just losing their way in the forest and dying from exposure?
Okay, so I have a lot of different ways I want to respond to this. Because I don't even know where I want to start. Because I think we need to look at both stories separately. Because
Yeah.
I think when we look at the first
They're
story,
the same but different.
yeah, when we look at the first story, I could see multiple different ways here. I do think 100% this man went mad. I don't know why he went mad. I don't know what drove him to that. Maybe there's something in the fucking plants out there and
I
he's
know.
breathing it in,
And that was one of the possibilities.
because I truly don't feel, cuz let's say these mythical creatures, these Wendigos, skinwalkers, I don't think there would have been anything left of him. If
That's my
he
thing. I'm like, I can't imagine they would come and just be like, I'm gonna eat those dogs.
Yeah, I want them feet. No, I don't. It doesn't sit right with me. I think I definitely think something was going on in the brain. I don't know what was going on in the brain, but for someone as experienced as him to have been like, "Oh, I just got lost," and then continue to get further off track, and then like ditching boots and a water bottle, and then further along ditching the backpack, and then like you saw there was like, "I'm trying to survive," and like there was a chance that he could have gone to safety. Like you saw civilization,
Yep.
but like you continue to get further off. What doesn't sit right with me is all of those things were found, and then a year later he's found 15 miles away with no feet.
Yep.
I almost think he was abducted by another person. He was murdered in some way, or maybe he was already dead.
There was no stat. Well, I suppose
Decay.
he was bone. Yeah, they probably couldn't find much, but
But I'm
there
like,
was never any
and the
talk of
feet-
like
the feet weren't
stabs or
found. So
no,
like,
feet were never found.
are the feet a trophy somewhere hiding in someone's house?
Or
Like,
did an animal digest them?
I feel like even if an animal ate them, there would have been remnants of like bones. Something would have been left. Something.
Well, if they crunch it all down right there and then run away, they're gonna shit it out somewhere else.
I don't know. That all feels very off to me. I don't feel like an animal is just targeting the feet. They're going to eat off the whole body. I definitely think there was foul play in that one. I don't know what foul play, but I think that this man, something was wrong in his brain.
Yeah, I definitely think that there was something fucked up.
I don't know if the mountains did it to him, like, because like you said, they're like the crazy mountains. And
Yeah.
if Native American tribes at some point had gone up there, and Lord only knows like what was accepted in and made the mountains crazy, I don't know. Maybe he was freaking hallucinating on a plant and he didn't even know he was ingesting it by breathing in air.
Yeah.
Who knows? I think something was wrong in the brain, but I think there was foul play in his body being found 15 miles a year later and no feet.
Yeah.
That doesn't sit right. But then when we look at, okay, case number 2, and we're looking at this old man Thomas. It's so sad. When we look at Thomas, an experienced man, he has done this his whole life.
And they always went hunting in the same area at Lily Pond.
Same area. They've done the formations. They know what they're doing. And like you said, he's familiar. He knows the area. It's not like this was new
And
to
like is
him.
a seasoned hiker camping. He like taught classes
Yes.
on this crap.
What sets me off in his case, a couple things set me off. One, the second that the forest was that quiet, I would have been like, we need to leave. But then again, I also have a background of if the forest gets quiet, you need to get out.
Yeah.
Like, I know that information. Maybe if they didn't know or hear of the legends that were passed down,
But I'm
maybe
like,
they
being
wouldn't.
in that area, I don't know how they wouldn't.
But I also feel like if you're out there and you're like, it's never been this quiet,
Like,
something.
yeah, they said it was the quietest in the
Yeah.
55 years that they had done this hunting trip.
And you've done it for 55 years, something would trigger in me and be like, maybe we should go. That's like red flag number one. Red flag number two for me is the FBI has shown up and now is just magically taking part in this with no tip.
Yeah.
I want to question that.
Like, how did that happen?
Why? How did you know to come here? How did you know this was going on? Especially because your first hub, your first base is hours away. Why are you here? What is
How
going
did
on?
you learn about this?
Yeah. And if you were tipped off by local authorities, what is going on here that you're not telling the public?
Yep.
And the thing is, this incident happened, and now like there needs to be the cover up, and they're like, oh shit, this one is more public than maybe ones in the past. It doesn't sit right with me. This one seems more supernatural potentially.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Because
there's literally nothing.
The fact that not a single solitary thing, like at least in the first case,
there was a body found.
There was a backpack. There were shoes. There was signs of survival attempts. This one, there's absolutely nothing. Not a single thing. And now the FBI are just like, we're here.
Hey, we heard you needed help.
What's going on? How can we get our hands dirty and help you out with this? Doesn't sit right. So I almost think second story, more supernatural,
paranormal.
Government potentially knows that something is going on in these woods, and they're like, oh shit, let's
go cover it up.
How can we make this not so public? And with the first one, I think that the man went mad. I don't know how he went mad.
I get the vibe he might have went mad.
I think he went mad.
Something in those mountains really does make you go crazy.
And God, maybe he cut off his own feet. Do you think he did that? Oh, if he went mad.
I'm like, oh, they would have found his feet.
Not if he crawled away.
Well, maybe he like whipped them and then an animal ate them and then they just,
Maybe he went so mad that he literally cut his own feet off and he ended up crawling. Because my thing is, he could have walked almost 15 full miles away from this.
Yeah.
And then he had just gone so mad he cut off his own feet.
But to not find a knife?
That wind literally made my stomach hurt so fucking bad. We are in the middle of like a horrible storm and that
It literally shook the doors in our house.
It shook the whole house. And we're talking about a creepy subject. But yeah, maybe he like cut off his. But then, like you said, he might have chucked the knife. If he chucked the feet.
But still, you find this body, I feel like you'd be searching like at least a 1 mile radius from this.
Yeah,
so if
I
you
really do.
Chopped your feet and then whipped a knife, you're not going to whip it 1 mile.
No.
Because I doubt you're going to walk on stumps.
And I would assume that like, okay, this body's discovered. They're probably bringing in a smaller search party just to be like, look at around the area for foul play.
Yep.
Something. But I mean, maybe he went so mad he cut his own feet off. I never even thought of that as a possibility.
I could totally see that.
Because if these mountains are making you go crazy, you're doing crazy shit. But I'm also like, do you know the will it takes to have to saw a fucking foot off?
But it sounds like he might have been a little too far gone.
Yeah. I don't like that story. And the hard part about that one is there's not an answer to either of them.
There's not closure.
But there's like that first one, there's really no closure at all. That second one, I feel like the government, something's going on. Government came in, something's happening there. That first one though, there's not like good closure to any means.
Yeah.
So this was like upsetting.
That is this week's podcast.
Makes me want to puke a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to throw up.
That's what we strive for.
We shoot for that. We want to make you physically ill sitting at home.
Yeah. That means we're getting to you.
Yeah, we'll put a trigger warning right here at the end of the episode. If you get scared, don't listen to this at night.
Might be a little scary for you.
They're going to get to the end of the episode and be like, we hate you guys. Why did you do this to us?
So we are relatively dumb and we forgot to do shoutouts at the beginning. So we're going to do shoutouts at the end.
We're going to just pop these in right here if my phone wants to turn on. Shout out to Sammy Captain for liking our most recent post.
Whoop, whoop. Go me.
Way to be a dedicated fan.
I try.
All right. So we are back on the Instagram. Oh, good God. Okay.
Are they tough ones?
Okay. So the name is like a like a period underscore period smile face.
Aw.
But then, and I'm going to say your username wrong, and I apologize. It's Hersky underscore Takibi underscore Ebrom underscore daily.
Wow, that's a long one.
It is so long, it takes up the entire top.
Daggone.
So I know I said that wrong. I apologize, but thanks for the follow. I don't think we've shouted this person out before. We have lay underscore music underscore collection underscore. Thanks for the follow. Have we shouted out Deborah before?
Debbie!
Thank you, Deborah, for the follow.
We love you!
We miss you. She was on our REI trip, for those of you that didn't know. But shout out to Deborah for giving us the follow. And I don't know if we shouted out Marie Insetti, but she is a teacher that I worked with.
Marie Insetti.
So thank you, Marie, for the follow on Instagram and all the support that you guys continue to give us.
We appreciate you.
Know that it does not go unseen. I literally look at that Instagram every day and I'm like, oh my God, we got a like. We got a follow. It's so exciting. So awesome. Creepy podcast week. Kind of given like some Halloween vibes.
It really was.
I almost feel like at some point we need to come back and do some more of those stories.
Spooky. Yeah, because there's tons.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be like when we eventually do like the short episodes of like mini conspiracies.
We'll throw in some creepy stories.
We'll do that. Eventually, like I said, maybe just do like a mini scary story sesh.
All right.
I feel like it's in the future.
All right, guys, please remember to subscribe to our podcast, leave a like and a review, like us on Facebook and Instagram at Conspiracy Podcast 1, and remember to tune in for next week's episode, which will be posted on Wednesday. Bye, guys.
See ya.